Hi everyone. I wanted to go over how to write an essay in more detail. I know I have a video on historical writing, but this is the essay outline template that I would like for you guys to take a look at, and you can use it or not use it. It's up to you guys. I just think it's a helpful resource for when you guys are writing out essays. So I'm going to kind of go over it, and hopefully that will help you guys understand it better when you go to use it. So first and foremost, when you guys are writing, I said this before in my other video, you always want to write as if the reader of your paper doesn't know anything about the subject, and therefore you are teaching them about the subject. If you go in with that mindset in your writing, you're usually going to be more detailed and more clear in what you're trying to convey, and it's just a helpful way of approaching your writing. So remember to try to always write as if the reader doesn't know anything about the topic. So the first part of the paper right here is the prompt, space for the prompt. And I want you guys to use the prompt area to actually write out the prompt. When you write out the prompt, it allows you to really read the prompt and be able to follow any of its directions. So as you write out the prompt, go back and then reread it again and actually put in bold any descriptive or description words that it's asking to do. So if it asks you to explain, if it asks you to analyze, if it asks you to compare and contrast, if it asks you to give examples, if it asks you to support your claims, if it asks you to give your opinion, these are all words that you want to put in bold. So as you are writing your outline, you can always reference back up to the prompt and see if you are actually meeting the demands of the prompt. The next part is this topic or paper title. And here, you want to leave this blank until the very end of your outline. And when you go back and you review your outline, come back up here and write somewhere between 1 and 6 words, summarizing your main point of your paper. You kind of want it to be a little catchy. You want to kind of intrigue the reader, like, oh, what are we going to talk about? So do this last. All right, and let's talk about the actual outline. So in an essay, a basic essay, you're going to have 5 paragraphs. So those paragraphs are your introduction, your body paragraphs, 1, 2, and 3, and then your last one is your conclusion. In your introduction paragraph, the very first sentence should introduce the topic. So if we were writing a paper on the Constitution, I could put my first sentence as, the founding fathers had no idea the impact the Constitution would have on history and American society when they wrote the Constitution back in 1787. That would be a first sentence that kind of introduces the topic and lets my readers know we're going to be talking about the Constitution. The next part of your introduction paragraph for the next 2 to 3 sentences is you kind of want to give a background of the topic. So in my example, this is when I would talk about how the founding fathers wrote the Constitution back in Philadelphia, that it's a living document, and that it is the document that is the foundation of our government and our laws on a national scale, and that I could even include that maybe states modeled a lot of their constitution off of this constitution. So that's where I would spend my 2 to 3 kind of summarizing where the Constitution came from, what it is, how it's important, how it's used, being these kind of middle sentences between the first sentence and the thesis statement. The thesis statement is an answer to the prompt. It is a 1-sentence answer to the prompt. And in that 1 sentence, you're going to want to start off with, as you're getting used to writing thesis statements, you're going to want to give 3 reasons or 3 claims that you are going to explore in the essay that support your answer to the prompt. So if we're still writing about the Constitution, this would be saying the Constitution is a living document that is still continuously debated today, including its amendments, its reach of power, and its use in modern day time versus in the past. Those are my 3 points. And then I would take those 3 points that I just made and I would put them right here. I put one right here, the second one would go here, and my third one would go here. So as soon as I write that statement, I then would write out those supports and put them in each one of these paragraphs. So then in each of my body paragraphs, I'm going to then explore each of my claims. You always want to start off your sentence or your paragraphs with a transition sentence. So I'm going to write a sentence that transitions me from my claim into what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to talk about the amendments first. So I would say the amendments is proof of the living document in the Constitution because we can both add and delete amendments throughout the document or throughout time. And that would be my transition sentence. So now I'm saying, okay, I've addressed this. Now this is what we're going to be talking about. Now you're going to want to spend the next couple sentences kind of giving a background about the point that you are making. So we're going to be talking about the amendments. So I'm going to be giving background on how the amendments work, how they can be added to the Constitution, how we can vote to have them removed, such as the prohibition laws is a good one, when we added the prohibition laws with the 18th Amendment, and then how we took it away with the 21st Amendment would be kind of the background that I would want to give. And then I want to give support. Your support is this support right here is the support for the claim that you are making. So this is where you would put in your quotes from primary sources. This is where you would cite your resources and your research that you've done. And I would like to see at least 3. The more you have, the stronger the claim becomes, but you need to have at least 3. When you're writing, the golden rule is always 3. So this is where you put those pieces of evidence. And then your last sentence is going to be a summary of whatever it is that you are trying to get the reader to believe. So this is going to be a summary of basically the background and the support and the claim that you are making. That goes here. And then you repeat that process for the next 2 paragraphs for each of your claims. In the conclusion, you're going to again do your transition sentence, and then you're going to take the 3 strongest claims that you made, one from each of your paragraphs, so whatever your strongest claim from paragraph 1, whatever your strongest claim from paragraph 2, and from number 3, and that's when you're going to summarize. Again, you're going to hit back to those points. You're going to summarize those points. Again, not using the same wording. You need to change the wording around, but you're going to summarize those here. And then your very last sentence of your conclusion is you restating your thesis, this thesis that we have back up here, okay, this thesis claim. You're going to restate that using, again, different wording, but getting the point back across to let your readers know I introduced it here at the beginning. I gave you all of my support and my evidence for those claims that I made. I explained those claims that I made. I then reiterated my 3 strongest points. Now I'm going to reiterate my thesis, and that's it. And that's your essay. If you follow this kind of format for whatever essay you write in my class, you could probably use it with your English classes, your science classes. I would check with those teachers first to make sure that they're okay with you following this format. But for my class, this is going to be the best way for you guys to write a paper. If you have any more questions, please schedule a tutoring time with me. We can work on one-on-one and go through this together. If you'd like to do this and then make a tutoring time and we kind of go through it before you then go back and write your essay, that would be a good point. But when you do it this way, you have all your outline, you have all your kind of thoughts and everything kind of put together and in order. So then you print this out and then you go down and you go to sit and write your paper and you have your